Okay, so do you want to know what she's doing? Mm-mm. Oh, well, I'm going to tell you. So she won't tell. Do you know what's happening? Are you aware of what's going on this weekend?
What?
Okay, I guess not. She's planning something. She won't tell me what it is, but she just texted me. She's like, I'm about to go to bed. And then she gave me a list of things I need to pack. And then she said, I'll wake you up when I'm ready to roll you into the car. And then today she asked me like my favorite car snacks.
Oh my.
And then she was like, I got an Airbnb. And I was like, what? Where the fuck are we going? And she was like, well, we're driving a very far distance.
Are you kidding me?
She's like making a whole weekend trip.
She's like kidnapping you.
I'm more scared because last night, I don't remember how, but we were having some random conversation. Caves came up. And then I was like, oh, I'd rather be caught dead than be in a cave. And then all of a sudden she like got a deer in the headlights look. And I was like, are we going into a fucking cave this weekend? And she wouldn't say anything.
No, please don't go into a cave.
So either I'm going in a cave and I also simultaneously ruin the surprise. Or two, she's being very sneaky and hopefully I don't end up in a cave.
Why? Where are you? Don't go into a cave.
I don't know what's going on, guys. But by the time you see me on Facebook Live, I'll have had a whole adventure.
If you're there at all.
Oh. Hey.
What?
It's our 50th episode. I got you a present for our 50th.
Stop doing that.
Okay, but wait. It's important. You're going to love it.
Wait, what?
You're going to lose your fucking mind.
Stop. You say this every time and then I seem like a bad friend.
Oh, no. Okay, so I'm giving you something that's very important to me.
I'm already sweating so much.
It's actually really, really important to me. And it's very special to me.
Wait, I don't want to touch it. What if I drop it? What is it?
No, you can drop it. It's okay.
Oh my God.
But, okay, I've had this in my life since I was 13.
What?
Or 14. 13 or 14. So I've had this for over 10 years.
Is it something with SpongeBob?
No.
Okay. Is it a tie-dye t-shirt?
Yes.
No, it's not.
It is a tie-dye t-shirt.
What?
But.
Wait, I just made that up.
I know you did. But, okay, but that's not the good part about it.
Oh, okay.
I need you to close your eyes.
Okay, I'm scared though.
Just close your eyes.
Okay.
You're going to love it.
What do I do?
Okay, hang on. I'm going to set it up for you so it looks all perfect.
Don't hurt me.
I'm not hurting you. I'm just setting it up. Okay. Before you open your eyes, I want you to know the fun part about this is this was my clown school uniform.
No.
Open your eyes. Wait, are you ready for the best part? Are you ready?
Oh my God, I'm going to lose my mind. No!
The nose squeaks. So it's a treat for you, me, and Gio.
Oh my God.
Wait, I'm not kidding. It's for you. It's for the show, yeah.
Where do I buy one of those frames for jerseys where you can put it in a frame? You guys, it's a tie-dye t-shirt.
Of a smiley face with a red clown nose and the nose squeaks.
Sassy the clown, patio furniture.
Oh, Gio, here's the nose.
Oh no, I got Gio all excited.
Baby G, are you so excited? Oh man, it was a clown shirt. Oh man, where'd it go? Anyway.
Okay, that is better than anything I anticipated.
Oh, I know. I was home for Christmas and I found it and I was like, either it's gonna collect dust in a drawer or someone's really gonna love this.
I'm just so pleased that it still exists.
I think it should go on our mantle.
Oh, it should go in a big frame on the wall.
But anyway, it's half for you, half still for me, for nostalgia's sake. But I thought no one would enjoy it as much as you, so it should stay here.
I think no one would enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying it than our listeners.
Right.
Enjoying it via. Let me just post a picture of this. Can you put it on?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pull over your car and go on our Instagram. Oh my God, I'm sweating. Why do you always do that to me?
But I wanted to give you something for our 50th, so.
Man, listen, the only thing I have to give you for our 50th is the reason that I drink this week.
Look, I already know.
Here's what happened. All my worst fears have been realized. I no longer fear death. Somebody put a needle, my biggest phobia, into my spine, my second biggest phobia. Repeatedly. Somebody repeatedly? Many times.
Like over and over?
Mm-hmm. Listen, I can't even tell you how fucking awful it is to get a lumbar puncture. It's fucking awful. And they thought I had meningitis. And I don't even have fucking meningitis.
What's the pain? We all want to know.
My biggest fear in the world is spines and needles. And that's why I was like, I'm never going to have a baby because I don't want to get an epidural. And it was my biggest fear. And they're like, well, now an epidural is going to be a piece of cake because it's only one shot instead of like 45. And
was it really 45?
It was just many. It was like 15 minutes.
Okay, we want to know how bad it hurts. Is it everything we think it is and worse?
It's a nightmare. It's like an actual.
And they can't drug
nightmare.
you?
No, they put like
that doesn't help.
No,
I already know what you're gonna say.
They put lidocaine in it, and it's like okay, like it's sort of numb, but it's in your fucking spine. It's horrible. It's every fear of mine.
How did you stay still?
I just cried, and then the lab tech was like holding both of my hands, and I was just like sobbing. And I'd just be like loudly screaming.
And
she was crying, and I was crying. It was like such a mess. She was like, "This is really." Yours is one of the most difficult ones we've done. Like
why?
Sometimes they're really easy. I don't know. They have to like
find your spine.
No, they have to find like the fluid to pull it out. I know.
Oh my god!
And then the doctor goes, "Oh, show the patient." And she like walks over and holds up a vial of my spinal fluid in front of me. And I'm just like crying.
What color is it?
It was clear. He's like, show her how clear her spinal fluid is. She's so healthy. It was like, God damn it. Then don't get into my spine. Leave it alone. So anyway, I saw a vial of my own spinal fluid and now I'm going to die. Now I'm pretty sure someone could like kill me right now and I'd be like, great, glad to be gone.
I think I texted Christine. I was like, how did you actually sign off on that? Because I would have looked the doctor dead in the face and been like, I would literally rather die. Please, I would rather have meningitis and pass away.
It was one of those things where they were like, no, like you don't feel anything. And then as I was lying there, I was like, wait, what is actually happening? And I was like feverish and like so sick and like whatever. And they were like, well, it actually does kind of hurt. And I was like, no. And I was like fucking strapped to a CAT scan table. And I was like,
I'm such a little bitch about pain.
I'm already crying just thinking about it.
If I get a paper cut, everyone knows about it for 45 minutes. I would not be able to fucking handle myself. That would be the second I got drunk for the first time ever. I would get fucking hammered.
And then the worst thing is that my back just hurts so much from it today. So like I could hardly move my back because it hurts so much. And Blaze was like, I didn't tell you what they were going to do. And he was crying yesterday. I was like, why are you crying? And he's like, nothing, I'm just worried about you. And then later he's like, I just knew what they were going to do and I didn't want to bring it up because I knew how much you would freak out. And then he was like, okay, I have to go to work now. Anyway.
Meanwhile, Blaze got me a waffle maker that looks like a Captain America shield, so he's good in my book.
You guys, I'm in so much pain. Anyway, I don't have meningitis, so shout out to all you people who've done a lumbar puncture before because I tell you what, it is my nightmare.
We're going to get so many emails now about lumbar punctures.
Listen, I can't stop talking about it because I hate it so much that I'm like, everyone needs to suffer with me.
Oh, no, I would too.
Yeah. You know what? It was awful. I was lying there thinking, we're in 28. I felt like I was like a subject of some crazy futuristic torture chamber.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh my God. Anyway, I've worked myself up a lot now, so I need you to talk now.
Well, I also could not handle it for Christine, and so I was doing that thing where when you're really uncomfortable, all you try to do is be funny, and every joke was backfiring because she was like, I got a spinal tap, and I wrote, wait, back up, and then I was like, get it?
Oh, I didn't get it. I was very much not in a headspace to get it. Sorry. Get it? Nope, that didn't work.
Nope. And then I sent you a picture today of a skeleton holding another skeleton's back, and I was like, I got your back.
That was funny because I was not under the influence of.
It was a really bad time.
Also, after you do it, they're like, you need to lie on your back for 6 hours. But
I was Googling spinal taps after you told me that yesterday. I was like, what the fuck is she going through right now? And it said you were going through hell. So sorry about that.
Thank you. And then it was like, you need to lie down for 6 hours. And the reason I went in was because I was in so much pain in my back and my neck and my head. So they're like, you can't move for 6 hours. And I had to pee really bad. And my phone died. So I'm just lying in a dark closet. No. And they put me in a fucking closet where all I could see on the ceiling were like dead bugs in the light fixtures. So I'm just lying there for like hours and hours, just like.
Did they tell you to go pee first? They didn't even warn you?
No. And I was like, maybe I should go pee before I go down there. And then I was like, oh, they said it'll be fast.
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. Was it actually? Was the actual needle?
No, it was like 15 to 20 minutes of just like pure fucking torture.
Oh my God.
It was
God.
It was horrible.
Oh my God.
Anyway, sorry. I'm going to stop talking about myself, but it was just awful. So also I got a new car this week and that was going to be the reason I drank, but then who cares about that? Because now there's a fucking...
Did you drive home in your new car with a spinal tap?
No, my poor brother picked me up and was like, can we stop at Wendy's? And I was like, I don't care.
Like your brother wasn't even like, let me treat you to Wendy's. Just like, I know you just went through hell, but I really need some fries.
Well, he tried. He's like, do you want a chicken nugget? And I was like, no. so that was not happening.
Gross.
Anyway, how are you?
Compared to that, I never get to complain again. So fine.
Yes,
I'm
you
great.
do. Anyway, I just want to add that now that I've just made this a horrible episode, that this episode is sponsored by
Spinal taps.
sponsored by
Chiropractics.
by chiropractors and our $25 donor, Desiree.
Thank you, Desiree.
Thank you. I'm so sorry that this had to be the episode that we donated to you.
At least it's memorable, Desiree.
Desiree, you'll never, unless she probably didn't get this far. She probably listened to like the spines and was like, fuck this,
Whoops.
and deleted her donation.
She probably was like, I'm over it.
But since October, she's been a loyal donor. So thank you, Desiree.
That's so nice of her.
Episode 50 is donated to you. Tax free.
Wow. Also, a reason why we drink today is because the Jim Harold,
Hey,
personally on his own, wrote out to us on Twitter.
it was very kind and exciting.
Here's the thing. All right, it's a very interesting crossover because my two favorite podcasts before we ever had one, that Christine got me into both of them, and were the influences for our own show, were My Favorite Murder and Jim Harold's Ghost Stories. Campfire.
It's Em's favorite podcast, by the way. Just kidding.
Fuck you guys.
Say it again.
Not you guys, just Christine.
Fuck you guys.
Fuck everyone. No, okay. But our two favorite, or My Favorite Murder and Jim Harold's The Campfire.
Jim Harold's Campfire. What's wrong with you?
I don't know. I never
Jim
look
Harold's
at the name.
Campfire?
My Favorite Murder and Jim Harold's Campfire.
Right.
And I was just thinking earlier today, like when we first started, My Favorite Murder had just had their 50th episode. And I remember sitting in a car coming back from your place when we were thinking about doing a podcast.
Oh my God.
And I was listening to the My Favorite Murder episode where you're like, I can't believe it's been 50 episodes.
That's crazy.
And that happened today when we're having our 50th episode. And Jim Harold, the other inspiration for this show,
Oh my God.
personally wrote to us on Twitter.
Oh my God.
So I was like, oh, they're combining.
Also, they just celebrated, My Favorite Murder just celebrated their 100th episode. So it's like, we're like,
Catching up.
yeah, we're like, well, we'll probably never get there,
Nope.
but we're always half a year behind. Anyway,
All right.
tell me some good news, because my back's just hurting thinking about all this shit.
Okay.
I
This
just
is.
want you to put this
Do you want me to wear the shirt while
tie-dye
we?
shirt.
Do you want me to wear? Let me. Elevator music.
Put it on. Sassy's in the house.
Wait, hang on. Get a video.
Okay. Well, now, thank you for making my day.
Do you know what my clown school's name was?
The school's name? Oh my God, please tell me.
Luvs and Laffs.
It fits the shirt so perfectly.
Luvs N apostrophe Laffs.
Oh, the LAFFS is bad.
Gets you going.
Real bad.
Gets you going.
Oh my God.
Very 2006.
You know we need... This is enough for now.
I think this is
It's
all
enough.
that I can give you.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and I'm going to appreciate it
The
for
nose
what it
is very bulbous.
Nose is very bulbous. Did you wear that at Loves and Laughs?
Oh yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man. This is gold. You don't have to wear it the whole time.
It's too late.
Okay, perfect.
Here
'Cause
we
I
go.
really want you to wear it the whole time.
Know that when I die and haunt you, I'll wear this shirt for you.
Oh my God.
You'll know I'm about to enter the room with a squeak.
There's just like a bright tie-dye and a squeak.
Yep.
Fabulous.
Anyway, that's on Instagram for everyone to... You know, one day if we get really, really famous, that's going to be the one thing. You Google my name, this is going to be the first fucking picture that pops up.
Who brought that upon themselves, huh?
I was just trying to give you a good time.
You're giving me a great time. And isn't it worth it, Em? That I'm enjoying myself?
Oh, yeah. So, you know what? You brought me Allison and Gio, so I guess I have to do something nice
I
for you
give
every now
you
and then.
so much.
My whole life has changed because of you. So, here we are.
Obviously, mine has 2.
Right, yeah. With
Tie-dye shirt.
Hashtag loves and laughs.
Hashtag loves and laughs. So, I want to tell you guys about Fabletics. And by you guys, I mean you, Em.
Yeah, okay. Tell me all about your pants that you wear so often.
So Fabletics is fashionable premium activewear at a great value. And the co-founder is none other than Kate Hudson.
Ooh.
My favorite.
So you know it's the good stuff.
The good stuff. And Fabletics makes the world's best leggings. They deliver on a performance level so you can get the most out of your workout, but they're so cute that you can wear them anywhere. Seriously, from bar, get it, to brunch. And then back to the bar.
And then back to the bar.
But
Perfect.
the good kind of bar.
Actually, but no brunch in between either. Just
bar
the
to the
bar
bar.
to the bar.
Their leggings are available in sizes XX small to 3X and in petite, regular, and tall lengths.
Oh, good. Because, if I were to wear some leggings, I would need the tall ones. For my large tarantula legs.
Tarantula legs. Anyone can shop Fabletics, but the best way to do it is to become a VIP member, like me.
Oh my gosh.
Of course. You get
Classic Christine.
You get 40 to 50% off retail prices, exclusive access to deals from fitness and wellness partners, and rewards points for free stuff.
No way.
Every month, Fabletics releases cool new styles. It's definitely something to look forward to. You go on the website, check it out, and decide if you want to buy something. If not, no sweat. Just skip the month and pay nothing.
Ooh.
I have like 3 pairs of Fabletics leggings, and they're my favorite leggings.
It's true, she does.
I wear them pretty much every single day. In fact, people like make fun of me for how often I wear
In
them.
fact, people dress up like you for Halloween with your leggings because we know how much you love them.
People go through my stuff and steal my leggings to pretend to be me.
Yep.
And it works. Some styles sell out super quickly. So if you see something you love in this month's collection, now's the time to snap it up.
Maybe Kate Hudson will hear this, love it so much, and then make a Christine style legging.
Listen, don't get my hopes
Just have
up.
a bunch of wine glasses all over it. Or you can just pour wine on them like you do.
Bar to the bar. Just wine stains all over it.
Actually, the legging should just start out dark red to just match
That's
it.
perfect.
You hear us, Kate?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Guys, if you want to be like me, and you do, go to fabletics.com/drink today and get 2 pairs of their amazing leggings for just $24 when you become a VIP member. I'm not kidding. These are the world's best leggings. They're a $99 value, and you'll get 2 pairs of leggings for only $24 when you
Ooh.
join at fabletics.com/drink. That's fabletics.com/drink.
Anyway, here's your haunted story. It's intercontinental.
Oh my.
It comes from Ireland.
Ooh.
I'm not even going to try to do an Irish accent because we all know it'd be bad.
Everyone's going to get mad.
It's supposedly the most haunted house in Ireland. Supposedly.
I feel like Ireland's probably pretty fucking haunted too.
I sure imagine so. Mm-hmm. I forget how young America is as a country.
It's very young.
But like compared to all these other places, because I was looking at the history and I was like, in 1100, and I was like, ugh, what?
People didn't exist in
I forget
1100.
that people did shit around the world before the 1770s.
Before America existed.
Before America. I'm like, what? What do you mean?
How is that possible?
It's like in year 2.
Jesus was an infant.
So this is called Loftus Hall.
Loves and Loftus. I'm sorry. I cannot. The shirt radiates clown school.
You know what? I got an A, all right?
I'm sorry.
Graduated with honors.
Oh my God, did anyone get a C or a D?
Some people didn't graduate.
That's really funny. I hope
They had to keep taking classes.
I hope they got a report card that was C-.
Like when you open it, water squirts at you or something.
Yeah. Frown face. Sorry. Loftus?
Loftus. And it's on the Hook Peninsula in County Wexford.
Oh my.
It starts in 1170. A man named Redmond Fitzgerald, nickname La Grosse,
What?
which in French, by the way, means the fat.
Oh, how sad. What a mean nickname.
Hopefully he gave it to himself. Maybe he was just team milkshake before milkshakes, you know what I mean?
Yes, but I feel like calling yourself the fat is just kind of sad.
I mean, we're self-deprecating, though.
That's
we're really
fair.
not ones to talk.
The alcoholic and the fat.
And the clown.
Oh.
Wow.
You said team milkshake.
All right. Makes sense why I can't fit in this shirt anymore. that I used to wear when I was 13.
Fine, you can be team clown.
Okay, so LaGrosse, he acquired the land in the area, and that was back in 1170. He had an original hall. It was like known as like the hall, which is super douchey.
Duh.
And it fell into disrepair. So in 1350, so almost 200 years later, his descendants still lived on that land and rebuilt it and renamed it Redmond Hall after him, which is when it got its nickname, the Hall.
Okay.
In 1641, so we're really time traveling.
Oh my God.
I'm just trying to get to the good stuff. In 1641, the Irish Confederate Wars broke out. Obviously, you know how good we are with our history.
I mean,
So we're going to just fly past this.
you don't want me to talk about all the details?
I mean, I'm actively trying not to, because can you imagine the Irish who are going to be pissed at us?
We have so many factual statements to make.
Michael Malloy is going to be pissed. So the Irish Confederate Wars broke out in 1641. Mm-hmm. And if that's not true, sorry.
Don't blame yourself. Blame the internet.
I'm blaming Google.
Okay.
By 1642, the fighting had made its way to the land that the house was sitting on, so a lot of people were killed there. Most people weren't, but like a third of the people that were fighting on that land ended up dying there. So there's your first series of deaths.
Oh, no.
Except for like the 300, 400, 500 years of family members dying on that property
Right,
too.
sure.
So then although he was the descendant of Redmond, the family line who lived there in the 1650s, he ended up dying in 1651, and the home finally ended up getting put up for auction. So it was in the family for like 500 years.
Oh my God.
No big deal, and it's only 1600 now.
Same.
NBD, it's fine. So in 1666, Henry Loftus ended up acquiring the lands and renaming it from Redmond Hall to Loftus Hall.
Oh, that's probably where the trouble starts.
Bad juju. So that's where this whole story is going to take off. But I just also want to give you some more history about the future. Like our past, but that future.
That's trippy. Wow. History about the future.
History about the future.
By M. Schultz.
Oh, God. A thesis. A memoir.
A dissertation and thesis memoir by M. Schultz.
Okay, so in 1666, he bought the house. However, other people died in these years. In 1937, the Sisters of Providence converted it into a convent and a religious school for young girls. Apparently, a couple girls passed away there from tuberculosis.
Oh, no.
Also, in 1893, it was purchased later by another guy who turned it into a hotel and named it the Loftus Hall Hotel. But the owner, his name was Michael. And one night, he ended up dying in the hotel. And his wife tried for the next several years to run the hotel by herself, but one night she just took off without explanation and totally abandoned it, left everything in there.
Oh, shit.
Just took off, and she won't say why.
Oh, no.
The property was left vacant, and for a couple decades, people broke in conducting satanic rituals, so I'm sure that didn't help.
Oh, good.
And I just wanted to, like, throw those in there. So, like, when I tell you about what's going on currently in this haunted house, you can see what other things have happened.
Right. The
past's future,
history of
but
the past
our past. Yes.
Right, sure that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So let's time travel back to 1666 when Henry Loftus gets this land.
I'm ready.
So stays in his family 100 years later in 1766. Mm-hmm. The Loftus family is still living there, and they go out of town for a few months, and so they ask their friend Charles and his wife and daughter Anne to house sit. Isn't that nice when, like, you could just leave a house for several months and be like, oh, move into my home? Because then what does that guy got to do about his house for several months? Does it just become a chain of house sitters?
You know what? You gotta wonder.
You gotta wonder.
You're right.
Someone's got to answer.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Now I'm just, like, really stuck thinking about that.
Maybe back then, because they, like, didn't have birth control and they just had a bunch of children.
That's true.
Maybe you could just get your kids to house at your own house.
I mean, there's no labor laws. Your kids can run the house.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Also, they were getting married at, like, 12.
That's right.
Anyway, they're out for several months. They get their friend Charles to watch the house with his wife and their daughter Anne. Technically not her daughter. It was, like, daughter from her first marriage and then a new wife. So anyway, while they're staying in this other person's house, a huge heavy storm happens. A stranger who apparently is shipwrecked. Shipwrecked.
What?
It's 1766 in Ireland, apparently.
Oh my God.
He arrives at Loftus Hall seeking, like, to get away from the storm.
The shipwreck? Oh, yep.
Yep. Well, he's like, I need a place to stay
Right.
until the storm leaves. So they take him in, even though it's not their fucking house, and this is a stranger in a storm.
I feel like this is when I ask you and Allison to watch my house, and you're like, well, some people came over.
Oh, no. I would be the first to be like, no one is coming into this house.
Allison would be like, they were shipwrecked. Come on.
Ugh, Allison would probably be that person who's like, oh, well, in Tanzania, we're just friends with everyone. And I'm like, okay, well, we're in America. People are going to kill us.
Downtown Los Angeles. Nobody's shipwrecked here.
That woman can make friends anywhere in the world. And I feel like she would definitely take advantage of that here. Like, oh, an open house? Come on in.
God bless her, but
No.
no shipwrecks near my house.
So anyway, the stranger comes in. He does not kill anyone.
Oh, thank God. I thought he was going to be the murderer.
I mean, we all thought that was absolutely going to happen.
Yeah.
He charms his way into the heart of Miss Anne, the daughter.
Oh, no. How old was she?
Probably too young.
Okay.
They end up, quote, beginning relations under the roof of Loftus Hall.
Oh, no. What did I say? Living in sin.
Well, very much so, and you will see why in a second. I want you to remember that sentence.
Uh-oh.
So, anyway, I don't know how long this fucking storm lasted, but a couple weeks later, this stranger is still there, like, going to town with the daughter under the roof of this guy's friend. And so he's still hanging out. They've all gotten to know each other pretty well, I guess. And they're all playing cards together one night. And Anne is looking at her cards and sees that she doesn't have enough. Like, she's missing a card. So she thinks she probably dropped it on the ground. And she sees her card on the floor. So she bends down to grab it, and she, get under the table. You see people's feet. And she went to grab the card and saw the guy, his feet were hooves. Were cloven hooves.
Let's rewind for a moment.
So truly living in sin, because apparently he's the devil. Nothing more anti-Christy than sleeping with the devil.
Oh my God, what? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking like his shoes were really dirty, like he had a knife in his shoe.
Listen, so this is why when I said this is the most haunted house in Ireland, I was very iffy, because a lot of these ghost stories come from long legends starting in the 1700s.
Where they were like
these stories are as old as America. So
where she dropped a playing card and there was hooves.
Cloven hooves.
Okay.
Also,
sorry.
you've been sleeping with this guy. Why did you not see the feet before?
I'm sorry. That's a really good point. Were his hairy ankles?
Maybe he's like one of those guys who likes to do it with his socks on.
I mean, fair.
Maybe that's what Lucifer likes. Everyone's into something. That's fine.
Oh my God.
Even the devil's into his things. So anyway, she sees the feet.
Oh my God. Okay.
She screams in fear, as you do. And upon announcing he's the devil, and he has now been discovered in front of these three people as the devil.
Right.
My thought is, if you're the devil and this happens, you just like blink and they just like turn to ash and your problem's done.
Or you're like, whoops, I forgot to hide my feet.
Or like you can like mind trick them, like go back in time 5 seconds and put some fucking boots on.
Hold up. I was going to say, was he not wearing shoes all the time? And they were just like, he's clomping around the
Maybe
halls?
like his like real self was showing for a second and she caught a glimpse instead of shape-shifting.
He was playing poker and he was like, his poker face was too intense, so his feet got...
Yep, I see. Yes.
Just trying real hard to make sense of this.
So anyway, that's what I would do if I were the devil. Several other options besides what he does, because apparently...
Oh my God, what does he do?
He got called out for being the devil, and so he literally shot through the roof of the house and flew away.
Shit. What?
And flew away.
He's just like... Okay.
And so... he escaped. He literally smashed through the roof with his body. So that's some superhuman strength to just be like, poof, and just like break through the roof of a house. By the way, can you imagine being the Loftus family coming home, being like, what happened to the roof? And their friends have to be like, look, so Anne was sleeping with Satan and he kind of just flew through the house.
We were playing Go Fish and it got a little out of hand. Kind of.
But really, that is like a very like good metaphor for how some families handle Monopoly, right? Like someone's bound to break the house.
It's sensible enough.
And all of a sudden, your little devil starts coming out. Get a little evil.
Just like his cloven hooves were showing.
Apparently, the 2000s are just like the 1700s in Ireland. Anyway, let's just pretend that was a really good story. Or you know what? Obviously, the Loftus family believed it because it's lasted this long.
I mean, something must have happened.
Maybe they were just really good friends, and maybe they were like you and me. Maybe they had like a paranormal podcast, and they're like, "Look, if you're gonna say something about the devil, I'm not here to question it.
Yeah, like we're not gonna make fun of him, or else he's gonna come flying back through that hole."
Be like, "Oh, the devil came here. Okay, fine,
You know
fine."
I believe you.
And I do think that the Loftuses probably believed it because at the time, the Loftus family member who owned this house, his name was Henry Loftus. Interestingly enough, an identical story had been told in another area of Ireland.
What?
Where there was a card game in a lodge. Jesus, they're so similar.
I was gonna say I wasn't gonna question you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What if I told you the devil broke through the roof?
I would say, well, let's patch it up and
You're like, I do not think so.
hope he doesn't come back.
So, when in doubt, sage it out.
That's right. Hashtag Theron.
Hashtag Theron.
Theron said that. I'm always afraid he's going to sue me. I'm always like, I didn't make that up.
It's like, trademark Theron. So, there's a story of another card game happening where someone saw cloven feet, and it apparently was also Satan.
Sorry. I didn't even mean to laugh.
Also, the place that it happened, the lodge that it happened at, was called the Hellfire Club.
I mean, come on.
And the person who owned the lodge was Henry Loftus.
Wait, what?
So there's thought that he was into some sort of evil-minded magic or rituals, because how interesting that he owned two different properties at different times. And when he owned each property, someone with cloven hooves came in and played cards.
Did he happen to be gone both times?
Did he happen to sleep with your daughter?
Oh my. Did he happen to wear socks while he slept with your daughter?
Ooh, better question to ask your daughter.
Real question. Don't ask your daughter that, please.
Unless you really feel like feeling uncomfortable.
I mean, you can ask your daughter whatever you want. It's not my daughter.
She's not going to answer you, though. I'll tell you that.
She might break a hole in the roof.
Another metaphor for PMS, I think.
She might be on the rag.
Okay, let's try this again. Because here's the fun part of him just like throwing himself into the roof. Before he did that, he also turned it into a ball of fire.
Oh, so you didn't clarify.
No. So he was basically like the opposite of a meteor shower. He was just like a meteor in reverse.
A meteor bubble bath. That's not funny. I'm sorry. Wait, so he turned... Okay, so the cloven hooves were... So he could have turned himself into whatever, but he still...
That's my thought. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why were you feeling so cocky that you could just like leave your hooves out? You know?
So you were right. Like, there could have been a million other ways to deal with it than blast through the roof like fucking...
You could have turned them into balls of fire. They would have never said anything, and we wouldn't be reporting on this story.
You know what?
Butterfly effect.
That's what the butterfly effect
So
is.
ripple in our space-time continuum is what it is.
Man, you're so good at history.
That's science.
You're so good at that too. You're so good at scholastic ventures.
Oh, I'm going to blame everything you say on your spinal tap. Okay. The hole that he caused in the roof. The one, you've heard about it.
Listen,
You're familiar.
the story's been told near and far.
Apparently, when he left, the hole actually never fully got repaired. So there's still like a weird shape in the ceiling, apparently.
Oh.
And let's all remember that, like, skeptic or just a realist in general, like, the roof could have just fallen apart after hundreds of years, and that's why it looks a little funky. But we're going to go with the fact that Lucifer turned into a ball of fire after fucking someone's daughter and then flew away.
Because he was mad at
Because that's the most logical in my mind.
If I ever house it and I break something, I'm going to be like, listen.
When I broke into your house to steal fake Geo and your Fabletics leggings,
Yeah.
I should have straight up just been like, look, the devil was here. I didn't ask for it. He just did it.
There were cloven hooves involved.
Yep.
And I probably would have been like, oh, shit. You've got to talk about this on the podcast.
Here's the best part.
Tell me.
Anne, his lover, she became so obsessed with him.
Oh no.
The devil.
Oh no.
She was so love struck and depressed that he left her. Like, took it as a relationship breakup. That's the worst breakup on earth. Like, we're done.
Like, I'm gonna destroy this.
It's not even your roof. It's someone else's roof. So anyway, she was just
She
like,
thought I was screaming about his feet. If she really accepted him the way he was, she would have just moved on.
can you imagine if a boy yelled at a girl for how her legs
Her
looked?
toenails
Maybe
or
they
whatever?
maybe they were a little hairy.
Maybe
She'd go into a rage too.
she hadn't cut her toenails recently. I mean, who's to say?
Anyway, so she was just overcome with grief, could not handle herself. She had lost the love of her life, and she was embarrassed in front of her family because he put on quite a scene.
I mean, that much I understand. I'm embarrassed for her, to be honest. Like,
Imagine someone meeting Blaze, and then 2 weeks in, he fucking breaks their friend's roof.
we're like playing fucking Game of Life, and he just like flies through the ceiling.
So her parents didn't handle it well.
Oh, really?
They blamed her.
Oh, poor thing.
And so they locked her in the tapestry room. First of all, what's a tapestry room? Second of all,
Tell me about that.
They locked her in it for the rest of her life.
What?
She died in that room in 1775.
Well, no wonder she was fucking sad. They locked her in a fucking room.
Because she was sad, they couldn't handle her. Like, they were like, you're too fucking much. Like, you're being way extra about this. Meanwhile, the devil was kind of fucking extra about this.
He's the one who fucking burned a hole in the roof, and she has to be locked in a fucking tapestry?
Well, here's the other reason why they might have locked her away.
Did she bear Lucifer's son?
She just might have. So she was pregnant a couple weeks later.
Ah, fuck.
And her parents were very afraid that this just might be Satan's baby.
Oh my God.
So apparently when she gave birth to the baby, they then murdered the baby in front of her.
What?
Buried its remains in the walls of the tapestry room, then locked her in the tapestry room until she died and got a Catholic priest to perform an exorcism on the whole house.
Why are they still even allowed to be there? Wasn't this
Why
her friend's
were
house?
the Loftus family okay with keeping her and the dead baby remains in their walls?
They're like, sure, you can break another hole in our...
Imagine if, like, I came back to the house, you and Blaze had a child at this point.
At your house.
Yes.
Yeah.
In my house while I was gone, your child had sex with the devil and then got pregnant, and then you murdered your grandchild and then buried it in my walls and then left your daughter in my house until she died and was like, you cool with this?
I don't think they even asked. They were just like, listen, can you
They're
move?
like, look, it's a 3-story mansion. Hopefully they'll just never go in the tapestry room because otherwise we have a lot to talk about.
Like, pull that tapestry aside. We have a dead fucking body to put inside it.
So
That's horrifying. Wait, so, okay, I'm sorry. So they waited till she died. So they must have like outlived her, right? Because then they got a priest and stuff. So how do you know?
Oh, no, they got a priest as soon as they killed the baby and put it in the walls.
Oh, so she
And
just...
so then they brought the priest in while she was alive.
Oh, then they exorcised
And then they
her.
they exercised the whole house, and then she just kept being locked in there until she died. And the priest, he died in 1773, and his gravestone actually says, "Here lies the body of Thomas Broaders, who did good and prayed for all, and banished the devil from Loftus Hall."
I'm sorry. Oh, it rhymes.
That's the fun part.
What a fun little limerick.
Also, Anne's grave is located in a local cemetery. However, the difference between her grave and everyone else's is that hers is completely cemented over.
What a bunch of psychos.
Because they wanted to make sure that the devil could not escape her body and possess anyone.
This is really psychotic.
Oh, yeah.
So even whether this was like, I don't even know. This is just beyond.
So the remains of the child were located in the 1870s, so 100 years later, when the Loftus Hall was being renovated.
Wait, so they found the remains of the child?
Yeah, so this child does exist, but also this could have just been like, who knows? Who knows? Chances are it wasn't the devil's baby.
Well, sure, but like somebody buried a baby in the walls.
No matter what happened, there was a baby in the walls.
That's so fucked up.
This discovery somehow probably is the trigger of the rest of the paranormal activity because they disturbed the body.
I see.
Ever since then, they also think like because maybe it was 100 years later after it had been exorcised, maybe like the demons came back. Like there's a whole bunch of different legends about why it's haunted now.
I see.
But I mean, there was hundreds of there was a family line of hundreds of years that died there. There was a war there. There was this girl who died in the tapestry room. Her baby was, its remains were in the walls. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons for this place to not have the best juju.
Right.
So here's the ghost stuff. You've heard enough. So there's a lady that walks around the house, who's a ghost, by the way. She's not alive.
Okay.
There's a lady that just moseys the tapestry room.
Oh.
And walks up and down the grand staircase, which leads to the tapestry room. They think that's Anne.
Right.
There have also been disembodied children's voices. There have been phantom cries. There have been the sound of horses stopping at the front of the house, but then you look out and there's no horses.
Oh, boy.
Sudden temperature drops. Feelings of someone staring at you straight in the face.
Well, I don't like that one bit.
Flickering lights. People have seen someone standing behind them, and then they turn around and no one's there. People have been pinched and punched, and they have heard a lot of growls.
Oh.
And there have been hundreds of reports of orbs and manifestations, at least since the skeletal remains have been found.
We care about the ingredients in the food we eat and the beauty products we use. Why shouldn't the same be true of our feminine care products? Lola is a female-founded company offering a line of organic cotton tampons, pads, and liners. They started their company with a simple and seemingly obvious idea. Women shouldn't have to compromise when it comes to feminine care products. Did you know that, Em?
Nope. Yes.
Now
yes.
you do. Did you know that the FDA doesn't require brands to disclose a list of ingredients in their feminine care products, so most of them don't?
I'm not surprised because I have a lot of things to say about the FDA for another time.
All right, we'll save that for another day, but
yowza.
Pretty bad. Major brands use a mix of synthetic ingredients in their products, including rayon and polyester.
Yuck.
And then you put that stuff in you.
Yuck, yuck.
Bad, bad, bad. But Lola products are 100% organic cotton, making your month a little bit easier. Their subscription is fully customizable, so you can choose your mix of products, your perfect mix of absorbency, your number of boxes, and your frequency of delivery. Plus, their subscription is super flexible, so you can change, skip, or cancel at any time. And it's founded by women for women.
Yay! Yay, women.
Go away, dudes. Lola is now offering pads and liners, as well as non-applicator tampons for those looking for a more environmentally friendly option. So I use Lola, and I have to say, I'm never going back. I love that it's delivered right to your door in a cute box. You can decide how much of it you want, how often you want. You don't have to worry about what you're putting into your body. So I highly recommend it to all of our lady listeners. We have a special promo code for you for 60% off your first order. That's 60% off your first order. Visit mylola.com and enter promo code DRINK when you subscribe. Again, that's mylola.com. Enter promo code DRINK when you subscribe for 60% off your first order of Lola.
So like I said, in 1983, it also turned into a hotel where the owner, Michael, died in the hotel. Also, it was a convent for a while and a religious school for girls. And apparently that was the closest chapel in town. So a lot of people in town would go to that school's chapel every Sunday. And apparently a lot of people felt like even though it was a chapel, it was incredibly, incredibly haunted and they could feel evil in the chapel. And legend has it they could feel the devil still there because this is supposedly the only chapel the devil ever lived in before it became a church.
Okay, that just gave me chills, and that's probably because I'm a Catholic, but ooh, that creeps me out.
But so like before it was ever a church, the devil was there, essentially, so.
Oh my God.
In 2011, it was purchased by the Quigley family from Carrig on Bannow.
Well, it can't be haunted after they bought it.
Can you imagine if that was how people were referred to in America? Like,
I know.
Christine of Ohio.
That's so lame.
M of Spotsylvania.
The Schultz family of Spotsylvania. That's pretty cool, though.
It's Spotsylvania. Sounds like Transylvania.
It does. That's probably why it sounds cool.
Even today, there's allegedly one section of the ceiling that looks different from the rest. And it has been featured on the Irish TV show Ghost Hunters and the American TV show Ghost Adventures. It has been the subject of a documentary called The Legend of Loftus Hall, and it is it has recently been the shooting location for a film called The Lodgers, starring Eugene Simon from Game of Thrones.
Ooh.
per usual, it is now open to the public, and they do guided tours where you can hear all about the spooky legends. And in 2014, there was actually a viral photo of a guy in his 20s. His name was Thomas Beavis, as in Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, yep. Stole the words right out of my mouth.
He took a picture while he was there and swears that he saw a woman in the window, and it went viral because a lot of people can't tell if it's legitimate or not.
Whoa.
But they think it's probably Anne because apparently she's wearing different clothes and all that.
Have you seen the photo?
Yeah, it almost, like, it's too real. It's so real it looks fake.
So, like, if it were real, it's very real. But if it were fake, but it looks like it.
Like, if it were fake, you'd be like, oh, well, yeah, obviously that's fake. But if it were real, it's very fucking real. Like, it looks like just another person standing there.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
That's, like, straight up a woman.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, look up Thomas Beavis Loftus Hall.
And it's the Google image, and it's like the first one. But it literally looks like it's just someone behind a screen or someone behind a window, like, that hasn't gone outside yet.
But she has that creepy dress on with, like, the poofy butt.
But it's absolutely a woman. Like, there's no denying that.
Ugh, spooky. Oh my god, the photos get me every time.
So, paranormal investigations are also held there with guests, and there is one group called the Irish Ghost Hunters who have been there for 8 years now, and one of their oldest members, Tina, has said that it's the most haunted place she's been to, and a quote of hers is, "Our first Loftus lockdown had many paranormal experiences. We were being pushed and pulled, others were overwhelmed with feelings of nausea. There were growls, children's voices, and numerous unexplained shadows. It was an amazing night." I have a very different definition of what an amazing night is.
Yeah, no.
Like, watching Friends without, like, pants on and eating my weight in ice cream sounds like an amazing night.
Amen. There's some wine, there's no spinal taps, and there's a lot of friends.
Oh, right. And also no devil.
And no
having
devil.
sex with my daughter.
None of that. No ghosts. No holes in the ceiling, please.
She also says, each time we return, activity peaks a bit more as if the house knows us now. That I will argue, because as someone who used to do paranormal lockdowns, the houses would actually get less and less interesting because they got used to us. They got bored of us.
Oh, they were like, yeah, we've given you what you need.
Yeah. And well, I mean, also maybe they're doing different things each time that they go. Like maybe they're asking different questions. But when I first started doing my lockdowns, they started as paranormal tours. And so
Right.
we would bring the equipment in, ask questions, and like have EMF sessions where we tried to, get yes or no answers on the machines. And because it was always a guided tour, we always asked the same questions. And so the ghosts just got bored of like, yes, I'm a girl. Yes, I'm fucking 12. Like they like clearly got bored. And then even during a tour one time, I said like, it's probably better if you guys ask your own original questions, because they have kind of made it clear that they're very bored of us asking the same questions over and over again. And when we said that, all the meters in the whole room went off.
What?
As if like, yeah, we're fucking bored. Like, we're not even gonna haunt you. Like, we're so done with you.
You're too boring to haunt.
So the last couple tours we did before we were just doing lockdowns, we had to tell them, like, we had to tell our guests, like, we really need you guys to talk. They, like, truly, if I spent the night here by myself, they wouldn't even bother me because they're so bored with me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Meanwhile, I've lived in the same childhood house for 20 something years, and those ghosts love to scare the shit out of me. So, take your pick, I guess. Anyway, this house recently had, through its renovations and over time, it's older than this, but the current renovation of it recently had its 666th birthday.
Oh, snap.
The last thing I have to tell you is there was one skeptic who decided to go on a tour with these guys, with the ghost hunters, and gave an account of his experience. And he was like, I don't believe in ghosts. This is all bullshit. And then he ended up going room by room and talking about all the shit that happened. And so there's 5 parts of this. In the main house, a medium came with them, and she, as soon as she walked into the house, she started crying and screaming and was convinced she could see a dark figure hovering over everyone and coming towards her, and then her skin began to crawl.
Oh.
And you could apparently see the goosebumps on her arm move in waves, as if something ice cold was going up and down her arm.
Oh, no.
The room became colder, considerably colder, and even though it was already pitch black, it somehow became even darker in the room. And they also started to be able to see dark images and humanoid shapes, But eventually the room brightened and the temperature rose, and then nobody could feel anything. They were just in a house and didn't feel like there was anything spiritual going on. In the morning room, can you fucking imagine?
How many fucking...
There's a tapestry room. There's a morning room. Is there a night room? Is there an afternoon room? Is there a dusk room?
There's probably dusk room.
The after hours room.
The daybreak room.
So in the morning room, they all spread out and start asking questions, very much yes or no's, to try and get some sort of response. And one person in the room started asking more demanding questions, like trying to like provoke the ghosts. And then you started to see a shadowy figure show up right next to him, but he couldn't see it. Like the guy that was demanding these questions couldn't see this dark shadow, but everyone else in the room could clearly see this thing. And when he would ask the questions yes or no, the ghost, they all saw the ghost knocking on like the window shutter behind him to give yes or no responses. But he couldn't see. Like the guy was even looking around being like, what are you guys talking about? I don't see anything.
They were like, Frank?
Yeah, but other people were watching this happen.
Oh, no.
There was a disembodied voice that kept coming through, and then there was a voice while they were all upstairs that from downstairs screamed, attention! Oh. So clear what it wanted.
Chill out.
In the upper rooms, you could hear singing, and there was a distinctive tug on someone's hair. On the guy that wrote this, it was on his hair. And as soon as he felt the tug, a young woman on the other side of the bench started sobbing uncontrollably. And he was like, what's wrong? And she said that she felt someone tug on her neck at the exact same time.
Oh, my.
They began asking questions like, do you want the door closed? Are you trying to scare us? Are you enjoying this? And they could hear deliberate taps coming from behind them every time that one of them asked. So like if you asked, you would hear it behind you. If I asked, you would hear it behind me.
Oh, no.
And it was like very intellectually responsive of like, it was happening right after we would say a sentence. So it's not like, oh, it's just the pipes. It was like only if one of us spoke, only that person would get the sound behind them. So the sound was moving everywhere too. The temperature was dropping, and then there was a release of cold air as if a door had opened, but all the doors were locked shut. In the tapestry room, at one point, the guide was convinced that he saw one of the people standing by the fireplace, but then turned around and the guy was standing behind him. So he just saw another person like shape-shifted that looked like him on the opposite side of the room that the person actually was. And then this guy was like, I thought that was pretty wild, but then I swore that I could see the guide standing right next to me, and then I looked across the room and he was over there. So they both experienced the same thing.
Oh, ew.
In the card room, this is the final room. In the card room,
fucking rooms, dude.
I know. In the card room, where supposedly Satan played cards. Oh. By the way, at least we know one of his hobbies now.
I mean,
sex and socks and cards.
Sex and socks.
So in the card room, they all sat down at the table, and I guess to like kind of make it look like it did back in the day, there were cards kind of strewn about on the table. Everyone was sitting around, and all of them started feeling a burning sensation on their legs.
Oh.
And no one said anything until one person spoke up, and everyone was like, I'm so glad you said something because I could feel it too.
What the hell?
Then the guide grabbed all of the cards and stacked them together to make sure that they like they weren't falling. Like you would misplace a sound, but it was a card actually moving. Like he stacked them all up so no one could mistake them for any sounds or anything that they saw. So he's holding them super tight in his hand, and people start feeling really uneasy. They start feeling really nauseous. Hair on the back of their neck stands up, and then one of them literally got pulled out of their chair.
Oh my.
Like as if like this is my chair kind of thing.
Oh no.
So he just ended up standing for the rest of the time.
What a good sport.
And all of a sudden they started asking those like provoking questions again to try to piss someone off, like just to try to get some sort of response. And then all of a sudden you hear this huge slam on the table, and the guide who was holding all of the cards, he was just holding them, and someone forced a card out of his hand, like, and they all saw a card like in midair by itself slam down on the table.
Oh no.
As if someone pulled a card out of his hand and slammed it down. And they all heard the bang. And
what was the card?
The devil. A card had been pulled from his hand and dropped onto the playing surface where we all heard the bang. We all watched it float midair as it slammed onto the table. We turned and looked back at the table to see a solitary card with the face of the devil staring back at us.
Oh wait, I thought you were kidding.
Nope.
What do you mean a card with the devil?
It's like a tarot card.
Oh, I thought it was like a playing cards.
They had several different cards just for like the effect of putting cards on a table.
Oh,
and out of all the cards, the devil one was the one that got pulled and slammed onto the table.
I thought you were kidding.
You know, you're very good at guessing things today between that and the tie-dye shirt. And
That was actually pretty weird that I was like...
that was a weird thing you did.
I thought about, what does 13-year-old M have?
The same things that 25-year-old M has.
Exactly. Same thing. Oh my God.
It's just the Loftus Hall.
That is bananas.
What's yours called?
Mine is called The Jameson Family Disappearances. So this was sent in an email by Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
So not to be confused with classic Kevin, I don't think.
I feel like he would have submitted it as CK.
Right. It's from a document that you created that just said from Kevin. So
I would have put CK.
okay. So it's from Kevin, who I'm sure is also classic in his own way.
Mm-hmm. They all are.
They all are. So Kevin sent an email with the suggestion. It's the Jameson Family Disappearances.
Okay. Let's crack into it.
Let's crack into it. It's pretty wild, if I do say so myself.
Well, what isn't wild these days between the spinal taps and Satan?
We like to keep you guys on your toes. Okay. So, let's begin. So the Jameson family lived in Eufaula, Oklahoma. The family consisted of Bobby Dale Jameson, who was 44, his wife Sherry Lynn Leanne Jameson, 40, and their daughter Madison Stormy Star Jameson, 6.
I was about to say, like, oh, those are very southern names of, like, Bobby Dale and Sherry Lynn or whatever their names were.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Stormy Star, and I'm like, they became hippies at some point.
Madison, but Madison is spelled like Madyson, so also very, like,
Okay.
American Southern, I think. Madison Stormy Star Jameson. So, okay. The family was in the market for land, and they had been looking at a 40-acre plot near Red Oak, Oklahoma, which was 30 miles away from their home. So they wanted to move to like a more wooded, remote area, and they were hoping that they could kind of get away from civilization and live like a more, quote, peaceful life.
Okay.
So they were on the hunt for some land. And everything seemed to be going smoothly. And on October 8th, 2009, the family loaded up their truck and set off to finalize the purchase.
Fuck. Okay, so 2009. That's a very different time than I was thinking.
Oh, yeah, I didn't really clarify.
I was like still back in the 1700s, and I was like, oh, wow, so 30 miles is quite a trek. They got to get their whole fucking horse ready. And now it's 2009, and I'm like, oh, smart car.
Madison Star has to get her whole...
That's true. I don't know a single person in the 1700s named Stormy Star.
Sherry Lynn Leanne and
Okay, fair.
Madison Star. So they loaded up their truck, set off to finalize their purchase, and they were never seen alive again.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, things went south
No.
really quickly. So for 8 days, no one heard anything from the family, and obviously friends and family began to worry. Hundreds of volunteers, dozens of law enforcement officers scoured the area for any sign of them. And a few days later, the Jamesons' truck was discovered abandoned in Latimer County, Oklahoma. The Jamesons were not there, but their dog Maisie was still in the truck,
Oh.
malnourished after 8 days without food or water.
Oh, baby.
Poor baby. She survived. Maisie survived.
Good girl.
And went to live with Bobby's mother. So she lived out her life as a good doggo.
Oh, it's such a baby.
Police also discovered in the car the Jamesons' IDs, wallets, cell phones, their GPS system, and about $32,000 in cash.
Was that something they were supposed to have on them?
Nobody really knows why they had that on them. They were known for carrying large amounts of cash on them, apparently.
They sound a lot like government preppers. I mean, I could...
From what? Not from what?
Well, that they... Well, also keep in mind, like, I'm from Virginia where I
That's
know
fair.
a lot of government preppers. A lot of people want to move to a remote area where they're off the grid and nothing can touch them.
Fair.
And they don't really know anybody. They can just live off the land. And a lot of people, including my father, don't own credit cards or like anything that could put their info.
Right.
I'm not saying my dad's a government prepper. I'm just saying he is afraid of Facebook and credit cards. So, but he's like,
And now he's the star of a podcast.
and now he's afraid of podcasts. But like he like very, and not just him, but a few other people I know, like they refuse to have credit cards. It's very much like I live off of cash. If I don't have the cash and I don't have money, I just don't want any paper trail. It sounds very shady, but it's very much like I just don't trust Big Brother.
But again, they had cell phones, they had GPS. Like it wasn't like they were living off the grid, you know? So
I see. That does make it more shady.
It's just an interesting, nobody really knows. There was also a photo taken on one of their phones, on the dad's phone, of the daughter, Madison. And it was left so the phone was left in the truck. And when police went through the phone, they found a photo of Madison and they tracked the GPS of the photo to like the top of this hill that was nearby, and police went up there and they found the footprints of the family, and they like were able to locate where the exact photo was taken of the girl on this rock. And so they were like, they must have gone up there, taken the photo, and gone back to the truck. But beyond that, they didn't know why the photo was on there. They didn't know like why they had stopped. So police grew even more concerned when family members told them that a gun belonging to Sherry Lynn was missing. It wasn't in the truck and it wasn't in their house.
Oh no.
The county sheriff immediately launched a massive search for the family that included drones, tracker dogs, hundreds of police and volunteers, some even on horseback. They had mules going through the land, like they looked everywhere. They spent 8 months searching, and it was one of the most extensive manhunts in Oklahoma's history, and it turned up absolutely nothing.
Jesus.
Yeah, they followed like tons of leads. They looked everywhere, nothing. They did find some strange clues. So back at the family's house, they found a witch's Bible. Do you know what that is?
A witch's Bible?
I had to Google it.
I don't know.
It's like a specific book. It has like, I mean, it's what you would think it is, basically.
Like a spell book?
Sort of. And it has like a bunch of like guidelines for witchcraft and that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
As well as strange inscriptions scrawled on the inside of a storage container they owned. And it wasn't until 4 years later that the family was found. In November of 2013, deer hunters came across the skeletal remains of 2 adults and a child lying side by side, face down in the dirt in a rugged area approximately 3 miles from where the abandoned truck had been found.
Oh, shit. It's like they just got pulled straight out of the car.
It was only 3 miles away. The remains were positively identified as the Jameson family, but they were so badly decomposed that a cause of death couldn't be ascertained.
Really? Wow.
So here are the theories as to what happened. This is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
So things are already very strange considering the gigantic manhunt with hundreds of people over 8 months didn't find the bodies that were found 3 miles away from the car.
Right.
So that was already where people were like, wait, how is that possible?
Uh-huh.
Basically, the most basic theories were that they got lost in the wilderness or died of hypothermia somehow only 3 miles from their car. But beyond those, one of the biggest theories was that they'd been part of a drug deal gone bad. So the cash.
Right.
So that was obviously supported by the cash and the fact that neighbors said that Bobby and Sherry Lynn had been acting really strange recently and had looked very gaunt and emaciated. So some people speculated they might have been on crystal meth, which just so happened to be flourishing in the area where they had disappeared. There were meth labs all over the place, that kind of thing. And also there was video footage taken of the couple on the security camera they had outside their house from the day they left. And it shows them in this sort of trance-like daze as they're packing up their car. And they're just making dozens and dozens of trips to and from the house, packing up the car, but they don't speak to each other. They're like completely zombie-like. And they're just still, like, it's very creepy. They're just kind of like
no interacting, it's just get the job done.
Right, no interacting, just like very back and forth, back and forth. So people have said it looks like they might be, strung out on something. However, when they searched the truck, they searched the house, they searched families' houses and talked to friends and family. Found nothing to indicate they were on any sort of drug. Their friends and family insisted they had been clean. They said they knew them very well. There was no way they were on any drugs. Some people think maybe they might not have been on drugs themselves, but maybe they had stumbled upon a meth lab or something and had gotten in trouble that way.
Okay, like they saw something they shouldn't have.
Exactly. So that was another theory. And then a different theory was that Bobby Jamison, the dad's father, might have been involved. So the dad had been involved in this vicious feud with his own dad, who the family had sued over property they were owed after working the family business. So apparently they were owed like 50% of the profits of a family business, and their dad didn't pay them, so they sued the dad. And then the dad threatened to kill Bobby and his family multiple times, so they got a protective order against him and installed that security camera I mentioned. So
Oh, okay.
then apparently there were rumors that Bob had ties with the Mexican mafia.
Oh.
So it was just like maybe he had something to do with it. But the police never investigated him very intensively. They never really looked into him, so nobody really considered him a serious suspect.
Right. Well, then that also, instead of the government prepper thought, that does make sense, though, if they were somehow involved in a drug deal.
Right.
Like or maybe they were like trying to get out of like, quote, the life or
Right,
something. Because
right.
they're like, we want to go somewhere where no one knows where we are.
Right, like
And let's just
secluded.
bring all cash on us so there's no paper trail.
Yeah, like bring our kid and our cash. Right.
That makes sense.
So that makes some sense. The dad himself had an alibi. He was sick and hospitalized at the time, so people wondered maybe he put a hit out on them. But again, like the police never took that as a serious lead, so nobody really is sure that that's the answer. So some people have suggested that maybe the deaths were a murder-suicide within the family. So that maybe one of the parents had killed the others and then killed themselves.
Oh, yeah, because the gun was missing.
But if the gun was missing...
Well, I mean, I would imagine like a guy, like, it just fell over and rotted with the bodies.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. If
But also, like, my thought, though, is that all three of them are perfectly laying side by side on the ground face down. Like, that sounds like someone put their bodies there.
Well, I don't know if it was perfectly laying side by side. I think they were just...
Oh, kind of scattered. Oh, it looked, in my mind, it looked very, like there was, like, a system to it.
They were lying face down in the dirt in a rugged area side by side. So I guess it does seem kind of like...
It just sounded like someone put them all there.
Yeah, it does seem a little sketchy.
I don't
know. So as far as the murder-suicide goes, both Bobby and Sherry Lynn had suffered from severe depression. Sherry Lynn's younger sister, Martha, had died very recently in a freak accident where a bee had stung her on the tongue and her throat had swollen up immediately and she had died very quickly. So it was like a freak accident, a tragic death in the family, and she had taken it very, very hard. So her family said like the reason she was so thin and hadn't been doing well is that she was like in a severe depression from that, had already been battling severe depression, and then like wasn't eating enough and wasn't taking care of herself after her little sister died. So that was another thing. And then the husband, Bobby, had been in a really bad traffic accident that had like hurt his whole body. So that was another thing where they were like, her little sister died, then he was in this like horrific traffic accident that left him in pain constantly. So they were already just in bad shape.
Right.
So maybe there was a depression angle. And going off that, investigators also found an 11-page letter that was apparently very hateful, written by Sherry Lynn, directed at her husband.
Ooh.
And it was found in the car, weirdly enough.
Oh, like she hadn't given it to him yet, maybe?
I don't know.
Or maybe he read it and then killed everyone.
Either way, I don't know. It was just found in the car as far as I know. And then the gun, as I mentioned, was missing. A coroner had also claimed to have found a small hole in the back of Bobby's skull, suggesting he may have been shot, but that could have been caused by a bullet or something else because the bodies were so decomposed they weren't sure if it was a bullet or not. And the other bodies had no holes or anything. So, the idea that all three of them were shot is kind of a stretch. Mm-hmm. The family of the victims say that the Jamesons were a loving family. They were devoted to each other, and none of them would have ever done anything like that. They would have known if there was, some freak thing waiting to happen. And then another theory, they just get weirder and weirder. So another theory is white supremacists.
Okay.
Let's just go.
Sure. Let's just take that angle all the way.
Left turn.
You mean right?
Right turn. Far.
Maybe an alt-right turn.
Alt-right turn. White supremacists were another theory. So this guy had recently rented a room from the Jamesons. And apparently while he was staying with them, he repeatedly used racial slurs and talked about white supremacy before Sherry Lynn ordered him off their property at gunpoint. And apparently it was just a big mess, and she demanded he get off the property. It was just a big brawl. And then some say that a pill bottle was found in the truck with his name on it when they discovered the family's truck. So people wonder if he or some of his friends had returned to take revenge. But at the same time, it's not totally clear from the articles I read whether it was actual evidence that the pill bottle was found or whether it's kind of just a rumor. I'm not really positive. I couldn't really find that. But another thing was, you know how I told you there was a picture of Madison on one of the phones? So the photo of her is actually online. You can look at it. And she's kind of like looking one direction with her arms crossed. And her own grandmother has said, like, she would never have looked like that if they were taking a photo of her. Like, she loved getting her photo taken. It looks like someone else was there making her uncomfortable. So who knows if that's true or not. But it was one kind of weird element to the whole creepy thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So here is where we go into M territory with this story. So the Jameson family pastor, Gary Brandon, came forward with some odd statements about the Jameson family. He claimed that in the days leading up to the disappearance, the family had told him they believed their house was haunted and that they were involved in what he referred to as, quote, spiritual warfare. Apparently, the family had claimed that they had made contact with the spirits of a dead family in their house.
Oh, no.
And that their daughter, Madison, had been regularly talking with the ghost family's child.
Ugh, gross. Was its name Captain Howdy?
What is that from?
The Exorcist.
Oh, I don't watch that.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't watch that program.
That network is something I don't know of. No, the ghost that possessed the girl, his name was Captain Howdy.
I don't like that one bit.
That's why the font of our logo is called Captain Howdy.
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah.
I thought it was just because it looks like a cowboy font.
No.
I really did.
It's like a nautical cowboy.
I thought it was.
No, that's the name of the demon that possessed the girl in The Exorcist.
Ah, shit. That's really cool. I thought it was because it's a nautical.
50 episodes in, folks.
I mean, it takes me a while. Patio furniture took me 25, if I remember correctly.
Mind blowing. You really do things at your own pace, Christine.
You know what? I like to just keep things slow and steady. Just, my brain can't handle it all at once. So, she had been talking with the ghost family's child. 2 of the ghosts were allegedly called Emily and Michael, and one of them was reported to have wings like an angel. I hope that's Michael. Angel? I don't know.
Well, isn't Michael the archangel of protection?
Yeah.
Right?
But apparently not, because this is apparently spiritual warfare, so I don't know what's going
Weird.
on. Wings like an angel. Apparently, Bobby Jameson had become so upset by the hauntings that he had requested special bullets with which to shoot the intruding entities, and Sherry Lynn had begun to investigate whether the house was built on an old Indian burial ground. The pastor also said the family sought out a satanic Bible in order to rid the house of the presences, which is interesting considering the finding of the witch's Bible.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a different thing. But people were like, he sounds crazy, but also there were some weird things they did find at the house.
Yeah.
So who knows?
They're like, we didn't find anything. Oh, but we did find a couple things.
We just found a couple, like, witches' Bibles.
It's fine.
So remember how I said there were words found written on the side of their storage unit?
Yeah.
So the storage unit said, it was written in, like, graffiti. It said, 3 cats killed to date by people in this area, ...
Ew.
Witches don't like their black cats killed.
Ew.
And it's, like, misspelled horribly, but that's what it said on the side of their storage unit that they owned. So police never figured out who wrote the messages, but in addition to all this weirdness, a friend of Sherry Lynn's was reportedly a witch, and apparently several of the family's cats had been poisoned by neighbors.
Oh, no.
So apparently belief in spirits and witches was, like, just running rampant in the Jameson household. Sherry Lynn's best friend, Nikki, 41, would go on to claim, quote, Sherry Lynn was interested in witches. We both were. Years before, we bought matching witches' Bibles. We put them on our coffee tables as a bit of a joke. That's what the police found. But in all seriousness, that house was haunted. I don't want to sound crazy, but whenever I went there, I felt a horrible presence. I would leave feeling so down and depressed, it's hard to describe. Once I was in the living room and this sort of gray mist descended down the stairs.
What?
It really scared me.
That's some evil shit.
Really, really creepy. She told me on a couple of occasions, Bobby, who was such a gentle man, would suddenly come at her and his eyes would be completely dead and black like he was possessed.
Ugh.
Sherry Lynn would leave notes around the house saying, "Get out, Satan," and stuff like that. It was her way of dealing with things.
Everyone's got a way.
You know what?
Jeez.
Some people burst through the ceiling in a ball of fire.
Some people just write the note. Get out, Satan.
So on top of that, Sherry Lynn's own mother said that she believed her daughter had ended up on the hit list of a local religious cult.
Oh, no.
She didn't name the cult, but she said there were several major cults operating in the mountains there, which seems really bizarre. But in the 1990s, there were several articles written about local cults, and a U.S. Marshal actually said that there were some extreme cults operating in eastern Oklahoma at the time. So it is a possibility. And then, if you consider the security camera footage in that light, some people claim the strange behavior could have been due to some sort of like cult possession or even demonic possession, which obviously is kind of an extreme, but people think maybe that might lend some explanation to why they were so zombie-like. But things get even weirder, believe it or not.
What?
Sherry Lynn's best friend, Nikki, who I mentioned earlier, claimed she was contacted by an anonymous woman who claimed that Sherry Lynn had been involved with a cult called the United White Knights, who had vowed to kill her and her family.
Oh, shit.
So there was apparently an abandoned wreck of a car which was found near the Jameson's car, which had been used for a long time for shooting practice, but also had satanic messages scrawled all over it. And Sherry Lynn had allegedly written messages such as "God loves you" and "peace" on it, on top of the satanic messages.
Ew.
But it's unclear how people have determined that she had written them or if they know that she had written them or not. And then Nikki said that after she got that phone call from the United White Knights, she said, quote, "I went up to those mountains about a year later, and near where the bodies were found, there was a line of cars parked with Texas license plates. When we got near the actual spot, there were a couple of gunshots. They sounded like warning shots to me. I don't scare easily, but that place really freaks me out. There's something not right about it." So she thinks that there's some sort of creepy satanic ritual going on near where their bodies were found.
Gross.
Then there's this other weird link, which I found a lot of this information from one of my favorite websites, mysteriousuniverse.org, which I just love. But so this is an interesting theory or just a link. Have you ever heard of the 35th degree latitude? Mm-mm. So it's a strange synchronicity. It's like a phenomenon. The line of tragedy, it's sometimes called. And it's on the 35th degree latitude. And a whole string of brutal murders have occurred along that line, including the case of Andrea Pia Kennedy Yates, a Houston woman who was suffering from postpartum depression and psychosis, who in 2001 murdered all 5 of her children in the bathtub.
Oh, my.
Another famous murder was the murder of Pastor Carol Daniels, whose mutilated corpse was found propped up behind the church altar in a crucifix position.
How is this not one of your episodes on its own?
Which is a murder that was widely believed to be tied to satanic activity. And then the 35th degree latitude was also where Timothy McVeigh carried out the Oklahoma City bombing. Oh. So all of these things happened on the specific 35 degree latitude, which is just a little weird. And that killed 168 people and injured nearly 700 others. And the Jameson's car was found directly on the 35th degree latitude line. So just an interesting synchronicity.
Speaking of the Oklahoma bombing.
Yeah.
My great grandma, she was in the hospital. And when that happened, not because of it, but she was in the hospital and she was watching the news, and then she saw that a bunch of kids were getting hurt because of it. And she said out loud, "Just take me, don't hurt another kid." And then she died.
What?
And then when she died, the bombing stopped.
Jesus.
Yep.
So your grandma's to thank for that?
Kinda, I guess. In a weird way.
That is wild.
But that's the story my grandma always tells of how her mom died. So.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Well, apparently that also happened on the same geographical line. And then, in addition to all those deaths, there was another disappearance that was eerily similar to the Jameson family, which was the mysterious vanishing of Tommy Raymond Estep, who, after visiting Eufaula, Oklahoma, which was the town that they lived in, completely vanished. Police found his abandoned truck on a highway crossroads near Wetumpka, Oklahoma, lying on the 35th degree north latitude line.
Great.
So the trail in the Jameson case is cold. Israel Beauchamp, the sheriff at the time of the disappearance, quit the force in 2011 and moved overseas. According to Nikki, Sherilyn's best friend, he couldn't stand the guilt of not being able to find Madison's killer. The pastor I mentioned, Gary Brandon, also left the area shortly after their disappearance, has not spoken to anyone about the case ever since. And even though the Jamesons' remains were found and put to rest, no one knows what happened to the family, and their family members still are looking for answers to this day.
Jesus. What do you think happened?
I don't know.
It sounds more and more ritual.
It's just
I don't know.
weird.
I like the sound of the drug thing, of it being involved with drugs, but too many things like the witch's book and then like the reference on the storage unit about witches and then like I don't know.
But if you think about that, and like if I like say one of us were killed and then they went through our house and it's like
that's
the
true.
weird shit they would find, you know, it's like easy to be like, oh,
okay, well then drugs.
But I don't know. I mean, that's why it's an unsolved case, because no one can figure out what the hell. I mean, their bodies weren't found for 4 years, even though they were 3 miles from the. You know, like if you think if it were a simple drug case, that they would just be. Killed.
Well, also if it were a simple drug case, they would have
found the money.
Would have found the money. Yeah,
right, exactly. So who knows what the hell? Like nothing was taken. It's just super weird. And their dog was left in there. It's just super creepy.
But how were they like 3 miles away from the truck and no one found them? It sounds like then maybe
doesn't make sense.
Maybe the bodies got dragged away and then put back later. Like who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, good story.
It's wild.
A wild time.
It's a wild ride.
Yes, an emotional roller coaster.
My head hurts. Thanks for listening, guys. Oh, great. Jill's going to come running.
It's my nose.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Happy 50th.
If you're listening before 3 p.m., we have a 3 p.m.
Facebook Live video.
Facebook Live event happening.
Please come with questions that you want us to answer.
Come with booze, milkshakes, and questions.
Do whatever you need to do to have a good time with us.
Be yourself.
But also come with questions, because otherwise we just stare at the camera and feel stupid.
And talk out loud, and no one needs that.
That's true, too.
We give you that enough every week.
Thank you guys for tuning in for the 50th time.
Oh,
holy crap, man.
I can't believe it.
You guys have wasted so much time. Anyway, if you feel like tuning in elsewhere for us, first of all, why? Second of all, thank you. Third of all, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, ATWWD Podcast. You can also find our personal ones, XTeen Schiefer and The M. Schultz, on all social media. We also have a website, and that's why we drink at gmail.com. Please write to us and send in your stories, personal true crime or personal paranormal, and we will be reading them for listeners episodes. We do those once a month at the first of every month. We have a website, and that's why we drink.com. We have our store, and that's why we drink.bigcartel.com. We have our Patreon. Please, please, please donate. You have no idea how much help it is. It doesn't go unnoticed. It's ATWWD Podcast. You can find us on Audioboom, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever your heart desires. Although I don't know why I'm telling you, because you're already clearly listening to this.
Yay.
And that's all.
And that's why
we drink. Wait, hold on. Sit it back down.
Ah, beautiful.